Hello and welcome to our this week's recap for Division 6C and 6D. It's week 10 and I'm still Hindus.
And I'm still Swaho.
And as always, we start off with Division 6C, who this week entered the Swiss tournament at the end of their season.
Yeah. So there. Let's look up the results, I guess.
Yes, and we have a pretty key game there right at the top. It's Revenge of Power Up losing 0-3 against Back to Square One. That was a
hmm
big game for the top of the table.
And then we have an admin win going to United Scarab Kemerets over Weird Witchcraft that isn't made still, but will be soon. Gobbleboners winning their game against Angels of Lilith, 2-0.
That is a big result for the Goblins, but we will get to that. Then we have the Prof Paratesia's Pets against the Pamperford Parakeets, and the Necro won 2-0.
Yeah, that was also kind of a big match because Keji needs wins these days. And last we have Highland Avengers versus Azul Waxstars, where the Highland Avengers won the game.
Yeah, so let's take a closer look at the teams and what's happened with them. And as I enter the teams page, I see a lot of those yellow level up signs, and I don't like to see them.
Yeah, but at least we have something to speculate about.
So, yeah, something. Let's start off with Pyro TJ because he was the first to got his win this week.
Yeah, 3-0, and
And, well,
securing a temporary, I think, first spot. I'm really not sure about, but yeah.
he lost a few players.
Well, at least he didn't lose the key players, and now he has an agility 5
Well,
wrestled on.
actually, the Treeman is only alive because of the Apothecary. He got
Uh,
killed, I think it was the first or the second turn on a foul. But
Classic.
Apothecary did something. It was
For
sadly
once.
disappointing. Well, it's good for Back to Square One. And the
Yeah,
meme tree is still alive.
the big one is still here. And, well, the more sick factor is the agility roll, to be honest. Uh, I think that's really, really good. Like,
Yeah, that's really useful having access to an Agility 5 piece who already has Wrestle and Dauntless. That will be a really good Sacker.
he actually has a higher probability chance of getting into a cage than leaping into a cage, right? If I'm correct.
Well, it depends if there's any tackle or prehensile tail or anything like that, but
Yeah, true. But he's obviously like disgusting. Just from looking at that, he's just disgusting, and he can lead. He alone could lead this team to a higher rank, to like number 1 rank, if you asked me. And well, you don't really need the rest of the team, to be honest. Like 2 linemen with blocker, just good enough, and you can just keep on pumping those linemen loners, and yeah, this team's really looking nice.
well,
I'd probably buy a catcher.
one thing that hurts, I believe he lost a dodge guard piece, a dodge guard
Oh,
lineman, so
yeah.
losing the guard does hurt.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, um, if you look at it like this, he was just bloat because most of the time with Wood Elves, you don't want to punch a lot, right?
Well, a guard can help to get a key 1 dice or 2 dice, so I wouldn't call him bloat. But I do see your point. But
Yeah,
having a guard piece can be really useful. I wouldn't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's useful as hell, but like just saying, losing it, having it is really good, but losing it isn't really something that kills the team or something like that. If you understand, it's decent. It's always good to have because it's guard. It's probably the best skill in the game, and it's always good to have even on an elf team that doesn't want to punch, but like losing it isn't as impactful as losing it on a dwarf team per se or something like that. I don't know.
Well, the dwarves do have easier access to getting it back, so I
Yeah.
think it does hurt the wood elves.
Mm, yeah.
Maybe not as much as different other kind of elves like dark elves or high elves, for example, because they do have the leaping and stuff available from the start. But I think losing this player really hurts.
So, he has 7 armor breaks come to 10, and he had 8 blocks less. But the injury table of Revenge of Power Up is quite impressive, with 3 casts and 2 deaths, while Back to Square One only managed to do 1 cast.
Well, fouling helped out the chaos a little bit there with the amount of injuries.
Yep.
So it's not only the blocks, but I guess as long as you keep on scoring, the
Uh,
blocks won't decide the game.
yeah, and when you look at like the stats, uh, they were quite even on ball possession, but Revenge of Power Up was in his own half with the ball quite more than Pyro TJ, which is usual, absolutely normal, but that just like it adds to that whole okay, he is basically pumping out touchdowns all the time, and well, Pyro TJ managed to do it this game with quite some ease, I'd say.
And I want to point something out. You see those two passes, so two successful catches?
Yeah, it was amazing.
As soon as Radstag starts throwing those passes again, he's losing.
Yep, and
Coincidence? I don't think so.
and you can see it like it's not his brother playing because his brother doesn't pass anymore.
Yeah, also his brother doesn't lose against a few wood elves.
Yeah, that's true. His brother crushes everything in his path.
Now let's have a look. The SPP. I think both teams got quite some nice SPP. And the dice rolls. Let's see if there's anything of notice.
Mm, well, not really.
Not really on the chaos side. On the wood elf side, well, the tree didn't take root, but he was knocked out for quite a few turns.
Yeah, that kind of helps him, right? But 7 rolls is quite lucky. If it was normally it would be 5 successes and like a failure, and 7 rolls, I'd say like having the tree not root for 7 turns is kind of lucky if you ask me, because that makes him a factor the whole half.
Yeah, it's useful when the tree doesn't root, but I think overall the dice were pretty even.
Yep. Even
Um,
though if you look at like Revenge of Power Up had like 16 ones, and these guys have 21, so that was pretty evened out if you ask me.
yeah, the ones and twos are almost equal to the five and sixes. Same with the wood elves, so I think there's a pretty even spread of dice here. Of course, the
And
circumstances matter, so I
and
think,
looking at the whole ball position, I'd say that this was quite an even game. And let's look at like Revenge of Power Up. What's up with them?
well, they didn't pick their level up yet.
Must be block. No, must be dodge. Yeah.
Probably. Or he didn't roll doubles and now doesn't know what to pick.
Oh, he'll just pick a claw, I guess.
Yeah, but that's not Elfie. He
Mm.
is playing the Elf Chaos,
Hmm.
who just get the
Then
removals anyway.
he can take kick.
Yeah, kick is a good utility.
Hmm.
Maybe pass block?
Oh, pass block. That would be a game changer right there.
Yeah, you never expect the Chaos Warrior leaping in to
He
catch the
rolled
pass.
edgy. Prove it. If you really rolled edgy, just level him up right now on stream.
Well,
Because it would be hilarious if you actually did. Because this team's really looking like something out of this doesn't belong over here.
well, agility would certainly fit the team. I think you even mentioned it when we had the game, so I actually believe he has it, but I'm a bit surprised he hasn't picked it yet. I would have thought Radsta wouldn't waste a second there with a decision.
Yep, that's true. But Ratsta, was it an even game? Was the game even,
Well,
or did
as I
you?
said, I actually cast the game, and it started off really well for Radsta, but then the Wolves found Zack and got the score in, and then, well, controlled the game. I think that's fair to say.
Yep. Well, if you say so.
Well, Radsta can
Fortunately,
certainly uh, tell the truth about the game. And
yep. Well, if you look at his team, he does have dirty players, so he's more of a pro elf coach apparently. And yeah, Svaho Clawpalm still hasn't got Clawpalm.
as
But
I
he's
said, he is not looking to get Claw Pump, he is looking to get Claw Mighty Blow piling on and then killed. That's his job, that's his destiny.
hmm,
By you at some point.
I guess so. Well, like really, there's nothing to say more about his team. I mean, he lost Cast Warrior last game, and then the new Cast Warrior passed the ball. Yeah, that's basically it, if you ask me.
But
So,
Radsta, it doesn't matter when you did the passes. Doing the passes is a clear sign that you played and that's why you lost. You should have let your brother play, he would have won that game.
yeah, if you didn't focus on levels and instead focused on winning, you would win.
Obviously.
Rasta. But
Now,
yeah.
let's move on to. Well, let's cover Herring Sword and Yacinda real quick. There
They
has.
have they have the same teams. They
Yeah,
still
but
haven't.
let's at least take a look at the Camry and see if there are any good MVP or touchdown targets or anything like that where he maybe would want to get the MVP.
Well, he could. Well, it's obviously always nice to get it on the throw raws, or yeah, if one of the throw raws gets the MVP, that would be good. And if the Tomb Guardian that isn't leveled up gets the MVP, that's also good. Same goes for the Blitzerer with 25 SPP.
Well, I think we can say that he doesn't want it on the skeletons. So, one thing you might do is maybe even fire one or two of the fresh skeletons to force the SPP on better targets. He has the money to replace them, and well, if he's not looking at getting a stadium upgrade, he doesn't really have any good use for the money.
I'll just get the stadium. What do you think? Like, would you get the stadium upgrade?
Well, I mean, as I said, this is a good opportunity to put the money to use to get the SPP on better targets. But if he doesn't decide to do that, I Maybe wait another game and then pick up the stadium.
Yeah. Um. Well, how much? Like, how little can he get? Technically, looking at it, when it comes to the numbers, what he can go up to 200, right? At least, if I'm
I'm
correct.
not, to be honest, I'm not sure how exactly the winnings work.
I think he gets like 30k no matter what, and then he gets a roll, but I'm not sure as well. So that needs to be seen.
Well, I probably would still wait another match. Like, he can just waste a 10k on a cheerleader and fire her again if he wants to. If the 10k TV difference matter. But I think if he's looking for the stadium, I would wait another game. The stadium itself doesn't give you any benefits, so
Yeah, the
no
stadium itself
reason
doesn't give you.
no reason to risk to not be able to. I mean, he will get big winnings from the bye week, so there is that.
Yeah, that I mean, like he can get a lot, and then you really don't have anything to use it on. Maybe get more skeletons.
Yeah, more skeletons is always tempting. At least one or two more could be really useful. But we will see what he goes for. I mean, if you get more skeletons, you will always have to think of more good names, and that might not be that easy.
Yeah, but really, with more skeletons, you don't make mistakes with more skeletons. Like they're really just good in a way because they can foul everything, and that's really their job. And the more you have, the better it is. The tactic, at least.
Yeah, and you can also sustain damage a bit better if you're facing a Bashi team, so you're not outnumbered in the second half if you don't get your injuries.
Yep. And now let's look at weird witchcraft.
Well,
Well, well,
they're
really, they're not going to gain anything in SPP and everything, but at least they're gonna get the lineman back, I guess.
well, I think what's to say about this team is now with the lose from the bye week, I think they are out of the playoff race, but they are looking great for next season. I mean, he also has 130k, so in theory, he could be looking at getting another lineman, but you
Mm,
don't want to do that right now.
yeah, in theory he can get another lineman, but like you can't do it now because, well, when you look at who he could face, if he faces, let's say, Pampleford Parakeets next, or if he faces Radsta next, well, not maybe Radsta because he doesn't have as much kill as Pampleford Parakeets, he might actually want to keep the money because there's always the possibility of, oh, hey, my team completely died.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why you wouldn't want to spend the money on a lineman where you gotta get a loaner anyway. And well, it has been pointed out that Yacinda is not even sure if he can play the rest of the season. So
Whoa, why? Like,
because he's sick right now and then goes on to holiday, I think.
oh, well, happy holidays and get better soon,
Yeah,
I guess. Let's go on.
gobble
Let's move.
bonus,
Who won their match? Really good.
pink
Well,
goblins, woo!
they're also a team that we don't really have much to say about. The mighty blow was there, the block was there, the grab was there. Maybe not the diving tackle or
I
the
think the
catch.
diving tackle is new. I think he had the catch already. I think the diving tackle is new.
Yeah. The diving tackle seems new, And let's look at history. Maybe it is Andrew Shaw got 5 SPP, so
Dustin
mm,
Brown got 3 SPP, and I think that was enough for the level up.
yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, Dustin Brown
So
was at 5 SPP before, so that's it.
this is a very low block match, 25-28. So yeah, that's not even 2 blocks, not even 2 blocks per turn.
But quite a
Uh,
few removals. Look at those numbers.
yep. Both teams armor 7, and well, what's this? 10 players are out, 7 players are out at a time. Well, most of the time, well, I don't know how Angels of Lilith, like vampires, work, so I don't know if their counter of injuries is the same thing when the vampire injures
Yeah,
somebody.
you go to the second page, and there you see the KO and casualties sustained. So he had 15 removals overall. That means he pretty much got pitch cleared. And that's an easy way to get a win in as Goblins. Just pitch clear your opponent.
Yeah. Huh. Pitch clear your opponent and have 75% win rate. Ball possession.
Easy. I mean, if there's no player to remove the ball from your ball carrier, there are not many ways to lose the ball.
True that. But let's see the dice. How did it go? 28 ones to 16 ones. So,
Bloodlust failed quite a few times.
yeah. Hypnogaze, well, at least he used it this time.
Well, a bit more, but I can see why you're not using Hypnogaze much when you're getting pitch cleared.
Really stupid,
Uh,
failed 3 times out of 23. And he made a loner roll. Huh.
I think
The
one.
chainsaw hit only once. Damn.
Yeah, I think the chainsaw got removed turn 1 or turn 2. And, well, I think what's also big is the wake up after KO is only 7 success and 10 failures. That's a bit unfortunate for the vampires.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Well, I think we can take a closer look at said vampires.
Yeah, who didn't get any level up? They didn't level anybody up, but they have it pending. This probably is just block, if you ask. If it's a normal roll.
Well, it can be tempting. I mean, he does have only not that many throws, but it can be tempting to get a dirty player in.
Saima says the vampires did indeed get pitch cleared. Cool as all hell, man. That's beautiful to hear, to be honest. Like, goblins really. Imagine goblins going 4-0.
Well,
In this.
that would definitely get them to the playoffs if they now win 3 more games. But yeah, the vampires, they had those injuries on the vampires for a while. It turns out taking a leap on a vampire might not be the best idea. And
Yep.
well, I think also Donkey Dragon has basically decided he isn't going to take this team anywhere and is mostly just trying to have fun with the team. So, well,
Yeah, like, his team's pretty banged up, and his skill pickups are really, if you ask me, bad.
I think at this point you just get another vampire and hope you don't roll any bloodlusts and try to win the game that way.
I guess, but 4 is the right amount.
Well, he might also just replace the leap vampire. That would be a good thing to do, in my opinion, because the lead vampire is easily removed and does cost 130k, so he is quite bloaty.
Yeah, he is quite bloaty, and I mean, like, when you look at this dude that's just armor busted, I just replace him. In general, I just, like, replace him completely.
Yes, also, Donkey Dragon, if you're listening to this, move the vampire 2 squares down and the thrall 1 up, so we have a good looking team roster page. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. And well, yeah, not too much to say here about the team. I mean, one thing that could be nice if you rolled a double on the roll is maybe picking up a leader to get an extra reroll.
That's yeah. If he picks up a leader on the thrall, that would be kind of good for him. But then again, it's a leader on a thrall, so I don't know. It could be guard, right?
Well, that's true, but we will see. We will see what he decides to pick. Now, what was the next game? It was Kechiru's, our favorite necromantic team in this division. And he managed to level his white with Mighty Blow and Guard. Because he was the one who was taking all the blitzes. For the first half, the werewolves basically didn't see any use until turn 8.
That's pretty bad. Well, the mighty blow piling on werewolf is pretty much done. I don't know if he needs anything more except for maybe tackle, and then well dodge or something like that. Basically, he leveled up the white, and I guess that he well Kejiru's. I don't know his pickups, but I'm looking at probably a double would be dodge if you ask me. A normal would be tackle.
Tackle is definitely useful. Maybe stand firm is also a consideration. I personally like stand firm quite much, but that's personal preference.
Yeah, that is personal preference, but you have stand firm of the two guys that really need to stand at one place. You don't really need a white to stand in one place. He has movement 6, so he is decently fast and he can run around and help the team where guard is needed. Instead of like positioning around flesh golems and basically keeping the play where the flesh golems are, whites allow you to like maneuver everywhere.
Well, Manusatra is also pointing out that he might be looking at picking up jump up on a doubles and piling on later, or maybe even piling on now if he wants to.
Double might be jump up. Yeah, that is true. Well, I'm more for the mobile whites, you know. That's my playstyle, and with like, and that's basically me. So I don't know what about Keji, but yeah, if it is jump up, it isn't a bad skill to take. 100%, it's really decent. But I don't know, dodge kind of, in my opinion, has more function.
Well, I can see your point, but as he's using, at the moment, he's using the white as his primary blitzer. So I think if we're talking normals, I believe tackle would probably help him the most. If we're talking about doubles, uh, if he's
Yeah,
trying to build him in a killer, I think jump up would actually be more useful because judging from his playstyle, what I have seen is that he keeps the wolves in the back as the mobile pieces who can react, and he No, no, Manusatra, he actually, in the last game, he didn't use the wolves until turn 8. But he was also up against Jaws with Claw and Mighty Blow, so that might have been a reason. And when he is using the white as a primary blitzer at the moment, I think, well, I'm not sure. On normals, I would probably definitely take tackle, but on doubles, it's a tough choice. I think we will have to go with we will see what he picks. Both of the choices, jump up and dodge, have their uses, but we will see what he decides to go for. Now,
Yeah, that is true. But like, Manus said that jump up makes him more mobile. Well, with the jump up, I guess that you're expecting him to fall over more and stuff like that, and you really don't want to be on the ground. Let's be real. You really don't want him to end up on the ground because that's an armor roll, and you don't want him to be hit and punched. So taking dodge prevents you from going down in a way. Well, POW can always take you down, but when you take a POW from the occasion, because POW can always take you down and there's no way to go around it. But like, yeah, you get to hit from the ground with jump up, but on a 2+. But you don't want to be on the ground. And with dodge, you are less on the ground, and thus you are more mobile, because now you can 3+ with a reroll any dodge, and you cannot get powed except if the opponent has tackle. And if the opponent has tackle, well, then taking jump up seems like, oh, it's better because he has tackle. Well, Kejirus isn't facing a lot of, like, only team that he can face with a lot of tackle is McNaughton, and McNaughton is Chaos Dwarfs, so really you can't take that into a big factor, to be honest. Just saying. Shall we go on?
well, I think there is still quite a discussion to go, but we are not going to cover all the discussion right here. What I also would like to point out that he is still looking to level his second white and the second flash golem. The second flash golem has been sitting on the 4 SPP for quite a while, but at least he managed to get a touchdown in on the fresh white. So that's pretty good in terms of future development. And I also have to say, I think Keijiro's played this last game actually pretty well. Shall we have a look at it from the statistical point of view? Because
Mm,
one big thing that decided the game was the Panther for Parakeets on 17 armor breaks only managed to get a KO and an injury, I believe. Let's see.
okay, and
Okay, and a KO
well,
and 2 injuries, but I think the second injury was very, very late.
yeah,
The very first block was a kill on a zombie, but other than that, he didn't get any removals.
and Kejirus with 9 breaks got 5 removals compared to the 3 or 4. What is it? Of Pamplefoot parakeets,
Well, he
which,
he did take a few blocks with his killer wolf, so he definitely helps with the injuries and removals. So that makes it a bit more likely, but just judging from the blocks succeeded and the armor breaks and injury rolls, the Pemifrost parakeets weren't having the best of dice. Well,
yeah, and uh, I mean the Pamplefoot parakeets. Casualty, well, wake up after KO was bad. 5 wake ups and 1 succeeded. Pickups were okay, like 3 out of 3. That's good. And he did manage to do 8 GFIs, but then again, he is doing GFIs with a reroll at all times. So And Peppa for Parakeets did have better ball possession, so I guess that I wouldn't call it luck, seeing as it's 2-0 and something like that. But like, still, I think that Peppa for Parakeets were in a decent position to win,
Well,
if you ask me.
I actually was streaming the game, and I have to say, the Panther Parakeets could have played the first half more aggressively, but basically after the second half, there wasn't much they could do. They just were they got all of the hobgoblins removed from the first half, and they didn't come back. And from there, it was basically a easy first score for Keijiru's, and he then decided to push his luck because I think he removed another blocker and Bull Center, which basically gave him the game. So I would call it luck. I would call that luck played quite a big influence on the game, but so I still think it was a deserved win for Keijiru's because, well, he played the strategic game a bit better in my mind.
Yeah, well, looking at Pampa for Parakeets now, he has one SPP away Bull Centaur from a level up. He has that Strength 5 Bull Centaur. He has also got Sunny, who is a monster as well, and Baxter is. I'd say Baxter is also decently close to a level up. Not really close, but he's getting there. While Harley is the guy that he really wants to level up. So if he is in any way ever in a position to get a level up on Harley, he should look to get it. And if we look at his potential opponents, Anderson Anderson could face Organized Crisis and the Rasta, or have a free week versus Yacinda, as you said, who won't play anymore.
Well,
Um,
probably won't play any more games. I'm not sure on that.
hmm.
I mean,
uh,
as we basically said for the last weeks, the team's development looks really good, but he just can't pick up any wins or even draws. It's basically as simple as that.
yeah, and also, okay, he's keeping the Marlin. That's good. And he's 10k short. And I tell him to get another Hobgob.
Yes, I would get another one. Maybe not if you get the bye week, but other than that, I would definitely advise to get another Hobgoblin just to get better fouls. And I also have to point out he was quite reluctant to take fouls on. Well, it was only on zombies, but it was with quite a few assists, so the success chance was pretty good. So I maybe foul a bit more. You have those cheap Hobgoblins, might be worth it.
Mm, yeah. Well, really not much to say about the team, seeing as that he doesn't have levels or anything. He does have 3 rerolls and an apothecary, so he's pretty much set, and this is basically the entire team.
Well, on to the next Shorf team, the Hired Avengers, who will. I think it's pretty much confirmed now that McNaughton will be re-rolling the team after the season into High Elves. So, well, what would you get for short-term build on a Bull Centaur with Mighty Blow and Block?
Break? Tackle? What do you think by break tackle?
Well, really short-term, he might be looking at piling on just to do more damage.
No. You don't want him underground, right? He's one of your better players.
I mean, of course, break tackle is great on a bull centaur,
Did you say?
but
Didn't you say like piling on?
yeah, I said piling on.
Well, break tackle is like an essential on bull centaurs, right?
Yeah, I definitely pick it up as a second skill, but as he already has mighty blow,
So then tackle, right?
yeah,
Or
but he
tackle
already
or
has a lot.
break tackle
Already has 6 tackle players. He doesn't need more tackle.
that aren't really mobile.
Well,
And,
I mean,
and
usually there's a blocker somewhere in range, and there isn't that much dodge around in this
I'm
division.
still really going for break tackle, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm not debating that break tackle is great on the bull center, but if he's just here to cause damage, I mean, technically he is very much in the playoff race.
Hmm.
So
Is he? Can he get to playoffs?
actually, I believe he is now. I'm not sure if he's tied with KG. I'll have to look it up real quick. Let me see, because we can't have a look at the full leaderboard. He is at 14 points right now. No, he is at 17 points. So he is 3 points behind Pyro TJ, 2 points behind Kechirus, and once Herringsword picks up the Y-Week win, he will be 4 points behind him. So 4 points behind the third place, I would call it still in the playoff race with 3 games to play. Not very good odds, but still in the race.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I think we agree the sensible choice would be break tackle. The fun choice might be piling on, but I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I'm okay with whatever he takes, but I'm just saying my preferences. And last but not least,
Well, let's have a look at the game before we
oh yeah,
move
the
on to the
stats,
Dazzle
the stats.
Stars. The
That's,
armor breaks were even. We do have an interception made by the Highland Avengers.
oh my god, who made it?
Don't ask difficult
The
questions.
the incredible Nessie. And Nessie is the Bull Centaur.
Well, blocks 68 blocks for the Dazzle Stars against 44 blocks from the Highland Avengers. But the Highland Avengers did get the better injury rolls, and they had a very good ball possession. So yeah, it looks like
It was
the orcs
one-sided.
didn't find any removals. Even only 10 armor breaks with 68 blocks is really low. So seems like his block dice weren't quite there, while McNaughton controlled the ball and the pitch well.
Mm, yeah, well, he did manage to have one pass and one successful catch, but that's really a Rasta way of looking at things, and yeah, he lost due to that. Yeah.
Well, not too much to say, I think, about this game.
Well,
Uh,
Gluth got 6 SPP, so I guess the
yeah, he was the one making the pass, I believe.
yeah, so I guess the thrower now is closer to a level up that leads him to block, hopefully, because at the moment he's even more useless than a normal thrower. I mean, he does have agility, but like and accurate, but you don't have anything to throw on the team except for the goblin. And speaking of the
Well, you
goblin,
can throw to the agility for Blitzer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Uh, well then he isn't that useless, but still, I prefer lineman.
Well, I think what might have happened that McNaughton got the first half and just made the stall until the turn 8 to score. And then in the second half, Organized Crisis was playing for the win and tried to get a quick score in, and then lost the ball, and then basically McNaughton grinded him down to the 2-0. I believe that's what I would expect to happen from the stats we've seen. But, well, again, this team quite well known for having no money and many injuries.
Well, he has money to take a lineman.
I think we won't see another lineman coming in for this team. I think Organized Crisis mentioned that he might be looking to reroll after the season. I mean, this team does have some potential now with all the stat ups he got, but it's still pretty beat up and underdeveloped compared to what teams are in the competition.
True. And really, I'd also like recycle the team completely, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know. And then you would start with linemans.
Or start with not orcs.
Well, but not
Whichever one he
orcs.
likes.
Not orcs aren't orcs.
That is true, they really aren't orcs. Well, you can go goblins, they're close to orcs. Or
Well,
greenskins.
not close
And
enough. If you're a orc player, you want to play orcs.
you can play Underworld.
Still no orcs. They are more like rats.
You can get trolls and goblins.
Yeah, but
So it
they
could
have
look the
rats,
same.
so they are def like a Skaven team. Everything with rats is a Skaven team.
Hmm. But let's look at the leaderboard. So Pirate TJ has a win. Toast Guy has a win, so we could see and also Kejiru's McNaughton and what's his face Herringsword have wins.
Well, I
So
think the big implication here is in the playoff race. Ratsta was the only one not winning, losing basically 3 points on everyone else. So he won't be happy about that.
yep. Also, can I I'm not sure about what's going to happen here, seeing as that 5 teams have won, 5 teams have lost, means that one team that has lost will face a team that has won.
Well, there was actually some talk on the Discord about this very problem, and I think they even messaged someone directly involved with Cyanide, and I think even he didn't know how exactly the game chooses who gets to play the against the different record.
It's
We
always good to know that Cyanide knows what's happening in their games.
we won't know who will be facing who, and well, we will find out in a few days. But seeing as we did the recap a bit early, because Tuesday, the 1st of May being a holiday, so plenty of time, we won't find out today.
Well, okay, not going into that. Let's look at potential games. Pyro TJ versus Kejaruz McNaughton or Herringzord, all really good games because all could, especially Herringzord versus Pyro TJ, because that game basically in a way decides who's first and who might be first for quite some time. We have Toast Guy, also a guy that won, but let's be real, he isn't going into any of these matches with an upper hand,
Yeah,
especially not into a McNaughton match.
I think the lucky draw will be the winning team who gets the gobble bonus. That's nothing against
Yeah,
the
I
gobble
agree.
bonus themselves, but they are simply the easiest matchup. And well, they are also the only one not in the playoff race. So they are
Uh,
the easiest opponents of those five. I mean,
uh,
the good thing for Radster will be that he gets to face one of the bottom tier teams, like the Angels of Lilith, the Desert Darkstars, or even the Pamperford Parakeets, and he should, at least in theory, be able to pick up the comeback win to stay close to the top in the playoff race.
yeah, so if we see perhaps back to square one, face, let's say gobble boners, because, well, they're one next to the other, so that's the only reason why I'm putting them one against each other. Let's say he faces that. That, in my opinion, could be a free win for Pyro TJ if you look at it like that. But like, then you can have Herringser versus Kedgerus or Herringser versus McNaughton, and both matches are quite crucial for all three players. Like, are quite bad for all three players. And then you have the winner of those matches going up against Pyro TJ, and that can result also in a draw. You never know. And with the fact that there is a person that is facing somebody who lost this week, let's say, I don't know, McNaughton or Herringzord might actually face somebody like Andy and Donkey Dragon, I mean, who has a pretty beaten up team, or Organized Crisis, who has a pretty beaten up team. McNaughton, of course, can't face Organized Crisis, but
Well,
you get what I mean.
it could be a big impact if one of the winning teams actually gets the bye week.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
could
that
be a really important factor for the end of the leaderboard.
that could be really, really important. Let's see if
I mean,
a match.
even if Weird Witchcraft gets replaced by a fresh team, there's still a significant advantage for them. So if one of the winning teams actually gets Weird Witchcraft or their replacement as an opponent, they have, well, I would actually say they have an advantage over the other players in the playoff race.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting, but let's not really speculate over that. Let's speculate over who could win, and I don't know if in this point I'm all on Pyro TJ or Herring Sword, one of those two.
Yeah, I picked Herring Sword in the path to playoffs thing, which Herring Sword did, and I think I'm gonna stay with this decision. And I'm probably gonna agree that Pyro Teacher will take the second spot.
hmm So let's go into the next division, right?
6D. Now there are still 3 games that have not been played,
But let's
but
look at the amazing.
that's clearly your fault because you didn't play your game in time, and it's not our fault for doing the recap early.
True that. True that. But like, let's look at it. Crematorium Crew whipping Kingslayers, not even letting a touchdown get into.
Yeah, I had a quick glimpse while the game was going, and basically the Underworld were pitch cleared by halftime.
Oh, come on. No, no, nothing for Kingslayers to do there. Team Fantastic, Flylord Servants played. My prediction was Team Fantastic. Ancient Cord in the north versus the Heresy Lifeguard. What?
That will be a replacement team. I'll be right back.
Okay. Uh, yeah, that's the replacement team, and that's a fresh human team with nothing on it. So I'm going to call it for Ancient Cold in the north. Even though Ancient Cold in the north is still one. Okay, so here we have last one. Hollywood Martial Law, Skill Opponents Incorporated, Hollywood Martial Law 1. This is the second time that Hollywood Martial Law actually went over the prediction of us that we were have something happening in this division. Wait a second. Okay, sorry about that. Like Hollywood Martial Law again managing to do something versus a skeleton team or a Camry team, to be honest. So Victims of the Sun versus Clotmore Rams. I called it for Clotmore Rams because yeah, they're still the only potential team to take Crematorium Crew down. The 187s versus Sillieth Blades ended up in a 0-0. Very well played to the Dark Elf team. Good job there. Bash Buddies versus the Imperishable Four. I called Bash Buddies, and Bash Buddies won. Well, Hinda still isn't here, so I'm just going to take it by the horns, and I'm going to go into the Crematorium Crew, and their...
Hello?
Hello.
I'm back.
Okay, we're going over a Crematorium Crew. He got tackle onto his ghoul, and he got... Well, he has a blodge agility 4 ghoul. That's pretty good. Yeah, this team's looking really good for this team value. Maybe a little bit bloated. I don't know. The agility is bloating it a little bit, but nothing special.
Well, I
And
wouldn't call the agility bloat. I think the team is looking perfectly fine for the team value it's at. And the last 4-0 win with all those SPP certainly helped them pick up a few more skills they will need in the playoffs.
Especially the white. The white needs to get one casualty, and the other guy needs to touchdown, and maybe even put some effort, seeing as that he's buffer T, that you're doing so well. Maybe put effort into leveling up a mummy with a touchdown.
Yes,
you know?
That could be really useful.
That could be really useful, because the mummy can get break tackle, or it could get stand firm, depending on what type of mummy you would like. Would you like a more mobile mummy that can get into places and not get tied up, or would you like a stand firm mummy that ties up a few players? And well, the rest of the team really looks nice, and yeah, the agility isn't really bloat. It's really useful, and let's look at it. 4-0. Dead Goblin getting... Vlado finally died, so rest in peace, Vlado. And yeah, 0% ball possession. He managed to clear the Underworld team in 24 blocks.
That's quite impressive.
In 24 blocks, he got 16 armor breaks. Yeah, that is quite impressive, and that's... I really don't want to call it lucky, but like doing this from week into week is really impressive. 68% ball position. Why isn't it 100%, dude? 25% occupation of own half, 43 of opponent half. Completely normal, seeing as that you pitch cleared him. No passes. You could have made 2 passes on the white to level him up, and in that case, you wouldn't be Ratsta. You would be actually doing quite well, and a quite good call would be to pass.
I think he was making sure to get 3 scores in the second half, because at halftime it was only 1-0. So let's say he wanted to make sure to get the scores in, because the scores give 3 SPP, while the passes only get 1. And you don't want to lose a score by failing a pass.
Well, then he can score with the white, right?
Well, I didn't see what actually happened, so I'm not sure if it is worth risking an extra touchdown over.
Let's look at what happened
well,
here.
Maybe it actually was a legal concede, which gave him the scores.
But the legal concede wouldn't give MVPs.
I think the legal concede gives you MVP if you're the one conceding.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, he managed to do a teammate, he managed to succeed, and he managed to do an inaccurate pass. Okay.
33 SPP. That's a
Yeah,
number.
that's a number indeed, and I don't know. Like, to be honest, nobody on his team really ever stands out to be on the cover, but he might as well be put on the cover of GMan in like the postseason GMan or something like that during playoffs, because he is probably this league's, well, when it comes to GMan 6 leagues and below, or something like that, he's probably the most impressive coach when it comes to score, because he has 10-0.
Yeah, he definitely has a great record. As I myself am one of those top performers in the bottom division, I wouldn't say he's the greatest coach.
Oh, you too, right? Well, what's your score?
I'm 8-2-0, so
Oh, so that isn't anything. Okay. Uh,
well, I am also not playing undead. Playing undead might make it a bit easier.
yeah, it might make it a bit easier. But okay, so Team Fantastic Flylord Servants. Really, both teams, we didn't go over it in any. We don't need to go over it in depth, but let's just look at it. So, Flylord Servants would need some SPP. Oh, no, wait. Whoa, Kingslayers, right. Fuck, I forgot. Yeah, this team's dead.
Let me see if I can find them. Where are they? There they
Strength through
are.
thrower, that's gone. No goblins at all. The blitzer is quite close to a level up, so Robespierre is quite close, and also the troll is quite close. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't actually call this team gone. I think you can very much rebuild this team in the rest of this season and maybe the Invitational if he wants to play it.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't call this team out. He does have two nice blitzers, and dodge on the throw is also pretty good.
the
So
blitzers are basically keeping the team alive, if you ask me,
yeah,
because just
he
having
was
that
lucky
many
he didn't
people.
lose one of them. I think if he lost the blitzer there, the team would have been dead. You don't care that much about the second thrower.
Yeah, but the thrower is dead. That's true, 100%. The linemen are looking quite decent, actually.
Yeah, guard and wrestle are two good choices, and
Yeah,
they're even not that far from leveling. So the players he has are looking good. The problem is just he doesn't have many players.
yeah, and he doesn't have many cash, but he has enough to swap in a new thrower if he wants, and the Warpstone Troll is quite close to a level up. But really, we don't have much to say about the team other than that, so I'd like to continue on, I guess. With, I said, Flylord Servants first, okay? If that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So, 2 SPP away with the Pestigor to get Claw. Because it has to be Claw, let's be real. Because the other guy has Tackle, and that guy is 10 SPP, so really not doing much at all this, with the other guy. He's 10 SPP from getting a block, which actually has to be block if you ask me. Even doubles, I'd probably skip because of the tackle first, because he's really dedicated to that tackle piece. Let's be real. And
Yeah, maybe wrestle.
yeah, wrestle is also an option.
I mean, if he's going
And
for the tackle first, if he wants to make a dedicated killer and a dedicated sacker, I probably would pick wrestle on the tackle Pestigor. But I think what's also important is three of his rudders are just one SPP away from leveling. And
that's 3 potential dirty players.
well, even getting a few blocks or a few guards could really help you out.
Yeah, but that's true. but guard is a double.
Yeah, but if you
Uh,
roll 3 level ups, the chances are you might get a double.
yep. And well, Tola needs 2 touchdowns really fast because that guy basically needs to become his carrier.
True.
And yeah, uh,
Yeah, I
he
think.
didn't play his game versus Jimmy Fantastic, and let's go over Jimmy Fantastic and let's see what happened there. Well, Jimmy, Mighty Blow Claw, still his team's really like Team Fantastic, still really just based around bashing, and that's basically the Chaos
Yeah,
way.
he is probably just trying to look to get his 2 Block Beastmen leveled and his 2 Chaos Warriors leveled. I think that's his biggest priority right now.
Yeah. And now going on ahead, Ain't It Cold in the North versus the Heresy Lifeguard. Well, Ain't It Cold? Drake. Drake. Well, he just has one large piece, and he has a dirty player and 2 fens, and that's basically the entire team. But he can look to get Cookie level up, and yeah. Other than that, really nothing special, to be
Yeah,
honest with this
the
team.
runner isn't far away from his next level up.
And
Might be.
Roscoe, the Ulf, only needs a touchdown, and I'd actually commit to getting that touchdown if you ask me.
Yeah, also Strength 4 isn't bad as a ball carrier. Agility 2 is also not that bad. I mean, I'm doing Soros touchdowns and it works out. So, might be a good thing to aim for, especially since you're up against a new fresh team.
Yeah, and let's hope that this one doesn't give up after a game.
Now, it's interesting that this team didn't get any SPP or cash. Like the other teams who get filled in got at least something.
Yeah, and the Stumpy Stabbers, they have been disqualified or expelled or whatever
Yeah,
you
I
want to call
think
it.
if EVLM left the competition, I don't know anything more about it, but
Yeah, whatever. So Heresy Lifeguard is just a basic human team, to be honest, and really nothing much to talk about. There's something to talk about in the next game, though. Skeletons Incorporated versus Hollywood Martial Law. Hollywood Martial Law, yet again, proving to be Falkenberg, proving to be the expert on how to beat Kemri and how to have your bear get a miss next game in the process.
yeah, and well, I mean, he got the win. He paid the iron price by losing another player.
Yeah, but if he has to lose a player, and the player was Michael J. White, rest in peace, Black Dynamite, and he did get an MVP. So classic, absolutely fucking classic, I
What's
guess.
surprising me is that the blocks been fairly even between the two teams. 40 blocks for the Camry and 32 blocks to the Kislev. And
Camry did have the
removal,
reoccurrence.
the removals have been actually equal. Each sustained 3 KOs and 4 casualties, so
The Camry did have the reoccurrence of last week's Camry team. Pickups 1 out of 5.
well, that's the way you win against Camry. Just rely on them not being able to handle the ball.
Yeah, I guess that's an optimal way, and I guess, I don't know. Um,
Well, do we have more to say about this Kislev team? The bear is missing, the catcher is close to a level up. Actually, the developed blitzer is not far away from a level up. I think
yeah,
this. Well, even with losing all those players, I think this Kislev team is coming along fairly well. He,
and I'd like him to keep. I'd like for him to keep it actually.
yeah, definitely. I think if you're starting a Kislev team, you have to be prepared to have a rough first season and aim for the second or third season. So if you're starting a Kislev team, you should be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Well,
literally use all of your players, sure, reroll, but if you have some potential, and he definitely has potential with that agility 5 lineman.
Yeah. Also, Tony Ya is decently close, if you ask me, to level up, and I'd probably aim to force his level up soon, seeing as that he is the MVP of the team.
Well, I probably try to get the Blitzer to level up first, but
Yeah, he is closer, and yeah, that's true. And maybe even Young, getting him to level up as well, because he's only 4 SPP away. All good level up targets, but Tony Yaw getting wrestle or getting block, whichever one he prefers, I guess. Yeah, it would be an amazing pick.
yeah, definitely. I think we can agree here.
Yeah, so let's look at. Well, we looked at that, so he placed the Skeletons Incorporated. And the Skeletons Incorporated actually next game on the throw raw.
Well, and this was actually a pretty big win for the
No, it's a
Kislev.
nickel.
Oh, a
It's a nickel.
niggle. I believe
No, he doesn't really need
that's.
throw raws now.
Well, doesn't have the money to replace him, and he still
Yeah,
has the Blitzer.
yeah, and that
So
the Blitzer is enough, if you ask
yeah, the
me.
Blitzer is definitely enough to handle the ball, but you would like to have a backup thrower, and I think Captain Jack Mara should be fired.
Yeah, he should, in my opinion, as well. This team is also really close to a few level ups that really could change and shape the team in a
Yeah,
really, really
3
good way.
Tomb Guardians are really close. The 30 players close, but that doesn't matter that much. Even the Agility Blitzer is pretty close to the level up, so a short way to
Mm,
go for getting a lot better.
that's true. Like, this team can be a massive team next season. I hope Palmier actually keeps them.
Well,
Uh,
he does have a decent record with 4-3-3. Could have been even better if he managed to pick up the ball a bit more, but
if he won his game versus the Falkenberg this week, he would actually tie the score of the Imperishable Four, the other Camry team. That's interesting. But Victims of the Sun versus Clotmore Rams. Basically, this is just a Clotmore Rams game, if you
yeah,
ask me.
the Victims of the Sun only have 2 blitzers. They do have a nice strength 4 blocker, but that's all. They only have with the level 4 blitzer missing. They only have a single level up on a blocker. As I said, this team will be re-rolled next season. At least I hope so. It would be
Yeah.
quite a task to keep on moving with this team. And if we take a look at where is it, Hutt's team, uh, there he is. Actually, they have a pretty fitting icon for the team. But if we look at this team, he has agility 5 Beastman, he has agility 4 Beastman, he has access to Mighty Blow, to Claw, he has a lot of block, he even has a diving tackle Beastman. I don't see a way where Victims of the Sun can do anything here.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, well, HUD. If you look at his team, HUD really does have a monster team, and he went with Wrestle on the Agility 5.
Yeah, and I actually agree with the decision.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, this team is disgusting in a way of its own. It doesn't really it doesn't have Chaos Warriors, but it's performing. It has 6-3-0, and Jimmy is 6-0-3. So not taking Chaos Warriors and taking a Minotaur might be the meta.
Well, I wouldn't call it the meta. I'm still not a big fan of the Minotaur. Just imagine if 4 of those Beastmen were Chaos Warriors, how insane this team would be right now. But, I mean, if Art likes his team, definitely keep playing, keep on winning. And, I mean, there is still a chance you can get to playoffs if you win against Buford T. Justice and he somehow loses another game?
Yeah. It's basically 700 to 1000. So, and there's 3 weeks going on.
Let's say he wins this week, which is pretty
Yeah,
likely. He will be at
which
6 points
800.
behind. He will be 6 points behind. And
Um,
that
he
is
can tie it.
if he wins against Buford T. Justice, he will only be 3 points short. So if Buford T. Justice loses another match, he will be tied and it will come down to touchdown differential.
Would come down to one more game. Because Bufford
Yeah,
can
of course,
go.
there's another game. We are saying Hart will win every game because that's the only way he can in any way
Yeah,
reach
and
playoffs.
Bufford will lose at least 2 games, one of which has to be versus Hut. Then they are equaled up, and remember one thing, and that's Bufford T. Justice. Well, let me just look at this abomination, but I think that he is in plus 20 range almost.
I'm looking it up right now. He has plus 16, but Hut is right now at plus 11. So if he,
Whoa.
let's say he takes a 2-0 win this week, he will be at 13. Now, if he should be able to win against the crematorium crew, he will get at least another 2 touchdowns on them. And if they lose another, he could very well take over the crematorium crew.
That would be actually such a big upset over the Undead, going 10-0 and then losing the playoffs to a random chaos team that has only goats. Never
Well, I
mind at
wouldn't
all.
call it a random chaos team, but definitely it would be a big upset and quite the
Yeah.
story for Hut.
Yep, the fall from grace. And imagine if it actually happened, the G manual would explode.
Well, I believe mostly Metal would explode because he's a big fan of those stories.
Yeah, now let's look at the 187s.
I'm not sure what you're doing with a microphone, but it doesn't sound healthy.
What happened?
You were becoming very loud and very, very. It sounded very robotic and cut off and.
I have no idea. I didn't do anything. Okay, is it good now?
Yeah, it's good. It's good now. Now it's fine. It was just the one sentence I just wanted to.
Okay, so the 187s versus the 30th Blades 0-0. Let's go with the 30th Blades, who basically lost a lot of things, it seems.
Yeah, they lost that before. I think with what they have,
Yeah.
the draw is a pretty good result.
And the loner got the MVP, but the loner got. Is this Nigel? Whoa. The player was not found. Oh, I can't seem to look at loners and what happened to them, but it's okay.
Yeah, I
Let's imagine.
also think it is not a priority to pick up the lineman. You much rather try to pick up a witch elf.
Yep. But basically, this team is kind of not really developed as much as let's see Yas's team, but it isn't really in the league of Yas's team as well.
Well,
And it is an abomination as Yas's team.
I mean, it's definitely a team you can stick with. I probably wouldn't recommend it because you didn't get anything great, and you probably are better off starting off in a fresh division again. But it's still a team you can work with. So if he goes in the lowest experience division, I think he could have some fun there. But I would probably recommend re-rolling. What do you think?
Yeah. Rerolling seems fine. Especially since he told me that this team isn't really his team. Like, he doesn't really know.
If he's not a big fan of Dark Elves, it might be even better to reroll into a team that more fits his playstyle. Now let's take a look at Mundingo's team with his
Uh,
Nerves of Steel Ghoul. But I think there hasn't changed anything.
nope. Uh, no, nothing's changed.
Well, and
Maybe
that's
the
has
goal
basically
die.
been the story of this team. Nothing much changed. We had a piling on zombie for a while. He then died. Not too much to say about this team besides a weird skill choice. And well, shall we go take a closer look at the statistics from the game? We have 10 armor breaks against 2. Ball possession pretty even. A lot
Yeah,
more blocks for the
over double.
187s and bad luck with the armor breaks and injury rolls.
Yep. Now let's look at well, he did get 7 SPP, and this guy did get 5. Celia's Blaze did get 5 SPP,
So
so
they
really
did
it was
not
a
get any SPP because they didn't pick up the loner.
yeah. So this was just basically looked like a bye week, if you ask me.
Well, a bye week would have been better for both
I
of them
mean,
actually.
yeah, but it's basically nothing special. The game was nothing special, if you ask me. Just 187's hit, Acilius Blades fall down, they get stunned, they get up after 2 turns, and then they get hit again. And I guess that was the story of the game.
Yeah, not too much to say. So shall we move on to the last two teams?
Absolutely, and the last 2 teams,
Are the
um,
Bash Buddies. Let's take a look at them. Well, he's at least one of the two teams.
Bash Buddies won his game versus a Perishable 4, but at what a cost. The Ghoul is, if you ask me, dead,
Yeah, the Ghoul is
because,
dead. The Flash Golem is already only MNG. So
okay, and the Q-Tip is missed next game as well. He
I
got broken, but he won.
I think you take losing a Ghoul over taking a win again. I mean, you take the win against the Imperishable 4 if you only lose a Ghoul. Because the Imperishable 4 are quite a sizable opponent. And it could have
Yep,
gone much worse.
that's true. So, um, when you look at the statistics, it's 2-1. Flesh Golem got the MVP. That's really nice for this team. And statistic-wise,
A lot more
pretty
armor breaks for the Imperishable 4. With about
pretty
even
even.
blocks.
Yep,
That's unlucky block dice for the Bash Buddies, but it looks like they pulled it off anyway.
pretty even ball possession if you look at it.
Yeah, but he probably made the key sacks and well, he managed to get 2 scores in.
Yep,
Maybe a
and
quick 1-turner or 2-turner at the end of the Imperishable Force half.
3 injuries led to how many?
3 injuries
What?
are 2 MNGs and a movement bust.
Yeah,
Well, he
that
actually sustained 5 casualties because he failed some dodges, so might
mhm.
not be directly transferable, but
Region happened 1 out of 4 times.
that's
That's
unlucky. But he
yeah,
made 11 going for it, which is pretty good. And he made
yep,
every single pickup, which is not that easy with only agility 3 players.
yep. Uh,
And the
well,
Camry failed to
he
pick up
failed
a
a
lot.
pass. Wait, what did he fail?
The Imperishable 4 failed to pick up a lot. They only made 3 out of 7 pickups,
Damn.
which probably helped Berserk take the win here.
Yep. That could be the actual game changer right there.
Yeah, the Camry not picking up at the right time, but I think that's only really you can only know about it if you would have watched the game.
Yep. Now let's go and see what's up with the imperishable force. Well, basically, not much has happened.
Still a lot of Mighty Blow.
Yep. And it was shown in that game.
Yeah, well, I think nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Well, he did get some SPP. Cetra is now only 1 SPP away from leveling. Ramses II is really close to leveling. Well, there's also one of the teams who looked like this for quite some time. So
yeah, this is a theme with this vision. Teams basically level up really slow. They level up enormously fast.
yeah, and if they level up fast, they most of the time lose a few players in the progress, which
makes them still stay at the under 1400 team value. Well, let's look at the leaderboard, although we already kind of went over it.
I think the big thing is we basically only have the Glottimer Rams and the Crematorium Crew in the playoff race. I don't think Berserk has a chance because that would mean Buford the Justice would have to lose all of his remaining games.
Which would mean that HUD basically
there
won
is
their
still
game.
Jimmy Fantastic. Jimmy Fantastic still hasn't played his game, and with another win, he would be tied with HUD. So if he wins his remaining games and profits off of HUD defeating Buford the Justice and Buford the Justice losing another game, he could actually sneak in there. But his touchdown differential isn't where the other two teams are at because he's only at +6. So to be honest, I don't think he really has a shot at the playoff spot. But I think he's also not looking at getting to playoffs this season.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that it's an upset. I would really like to see him upset.
Well, I think Buford the Justice deserves the playoff spot at this point. And upset stories and underdog stories are always fun, but there's a reason why they're called upsets.
Yeah, they don't happen really often, but when they do happen, it's really, really cool to see them, right? Let's be real. But in my opinion, like Bufford actually kind of deserves the playoffs, but in a way, if he doesn't win all his matches, and if he doesn't win, especially his match versus HUD, and if HUD actually goes through, I'd actually argue that, well, why couldn't you continue?
Well, I think what would be even more disappointing, say he finishes with a 13-win record and then gets knocked out in the first round of playoffs. I think this would be even more disappointing than losing the playoff spot. And the playoff spots for the fresh divisions will get matched against Division 1 teams, so it will be a tough task to take them on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't really know the state of Division 1. That's not our field, and
well, I can take a look at the Rebel playoffs page from Flies. That should give us a quick answer who he currently would be facing. I'll just need to find his name. Where is he? Buford T. Justice. He would be facing Gengar right now.
Ooh. How's Gengar's team looking like? Is it?
I can't look at it because Blood Bowl 2 League Manager is down. But I believe it's Camry and it's looking to foul you and kill you.
Is Gengar. Can't seem to find Gengar. Wait, he's Rel, right?
Yeah, he's Rel Division 1.
Oh, I was looking at
Well,
GMan.
is he? No.
Uh,
See, no,
oh,
he actually isn't Division 1. Did I mistake something? Is he actually matched against? He is matched against the Division 2 team.
Division Two.
Surprisingly a bit. I thought every fresh division winner would get matched against the Division 1 team, but well,
Hmm.
Gengar's team
Well,
has 2 strength up Blitzras, 4 very developed Tomb Guardians with 2 strength ups. I wouldn't want to face the team. He even has 3 dirty players, one of which has Sneaky Git.
and he has Hail Mary pass.
So definitely not an easy opponent. Probably would rather face a Division 1 team actually than facing well,
Well,
how much team value is he at? Does it show it here somewhere? 2k team value basically, so
if he faces a Division One team, he could face Horny Cricket, the last year's winner that actually lost a Flesh Golem, so -1 in armor value on a Flesh Golem. But the dude has a Mighty Blow, Polygon, Tackle, Jump Up, Pro Werewolf that is
yeah,
leveled up
let's
to the
just
max.
say the first playoff game won't be an easy one, and I doubt that will get much easier from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was basically the recap.
Do you want
I
to make 3 more predictions over next week's games? Here we have a
hmm.
schedule.
Well, if we have a schedule, then might as well.
Well, let's just make it a quick fire. No big explanations. The 187s against the Kingslayers.
Hold up. 187s?
The
Yeah.
187s against the Kingslayers.
No. Yes, 187s.
Okay, I agree. Victims of the Sun against the Bash Buddies.
Going with Bash Buddies.
Yeah, I also agree. Skeletons Incorporated against the Imperishable Four.
The
Camry
Camry
Mirror.
off. Draw.
I'm gonna agree. They both failed to pick up the ball and it ends 0-0 with 10 injuries on each side. Ain't
Yeah.
Cold in the North against the City of Blades.
I'd go with Blades, to be honest.
I'm gonna go with Ain't Cold in the North. Team Fantastic against Clawtimor Rams, the Chaos Mirror. It's the
This one
week of the
actually
mirror matches.
this one can actually decide it as well. The whole league. So I'd like Team Fantastic to win, but I think that Clotmore Rams is the team that can actually go on through the playoffs. So I'm going to probably go Claw.
Clawtimor Rams, I agree. Crematorium Crew against Hollywood Martial Law.
Crematorium Crew.
Probably agree,
Actually,
but Kislev could
him,
be someone who take a point or 2 points off of them. I don't think that Hollywood Martial Law can win, but they could very well get a draw.
I'd like to see a draw. And if it would be a 0-0, that would be even more hilarious.
Well, I think we both would like to see a draw, and it would make the last 2 weeks a bit more interesting. So let's hope for a draw, but it will probably be a win for the Crematorium Crew.
Yeah, but we're hoping for draws. So Flylord Servants versus the Heresy Lifeguard.
Flylord
Flylord
Servants.
Servants.
Well,
Yeah.
I think now we covered it.
Yep.
I hope you guys liked it. If you did, let us know. If you didn't, let us know. Well, have a nice week and have fun with your matches.
Yeah, and please play the matches on time. We don't want.
I mean, 3 of the matches unplayed. What is this?
Yeah, 2 days ahead of time. Like what? But yeah, have a nice week, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you for joining the live stream. And why can't my AV8 have that armor the Dark Elves have? Well, apparently not everybody buys good armor, and Falcomer, that's your problem,
Yeah,
not
you're
ours.
probably buying at the wrong armor store. I'm
If you-
thinking of a certain Bargain Boozers one.
Yeah, and if you don't get a draw, if you don't get a win in your next match, you owe us both $5. My name is Svaho.
Just regards his last statement, and my name is Hindus, and see you next week.